Hello guys, today I'm going to be doing a review of a subwoofer. Now this subwoofer is one of the most famous subwoofers in the UK for people who like audiophile kind of products on the cheap. Okay, so it's the BK Monolith Plus, and here's my review of this speaker. So to start this review, let me tell you about my experience with this speaker. I've had it since 2018. I bought it from the BK website direct, and in fact I bought two of these speakers, two BK Monolith Pluses in the white satin finish. Before that I had the BK Monolith original, the 300 watt edition, and it was a downward firing model. These two that I've tested are both front firing models, and I really regret that now, and I'll tell you the reason why later. The specifications of this subwoofer: so 12-inch cone, 500 watt RMS, and I think the peaks are 1000 watt. Class D amplifier. I think it's made by BK as well, the amplifier. It's their BLAT amplifier. I think that's correct. Okay, 500 watt RMS Class D. The size of the subwoofer, 95 litre enclosure. Okay, so the size is a 95 litre enclosure, and I would say that is double pretty much other 12-inch ported subwoofers. Okay, this is a big 12-inch subwoofer. The weight, the mass, 48 kilograms, which is again double the weight of other subwoofers. 25mm MDF construction with critical bracing inside. Okay, the weight of this thing is massive. The frequency extension, they say it's 20 Hertz plus minus 3 dB. Minus 3 dB, it's never, it won't go above, but minus 3 dB, 20 Hertz at reference levels as well. So hearing all these specifications, what is this subwoofer about? This subwoofer has been designed, just by the name you can hear, it's designed to sound big with movies. It's got a huge port, like massive, like you could fit your arm in it port, right? That's been tuned to 20 Hertz. It's a massive box. It's 500 watt RMS. This thing is made to just sound big, and that's all I'm gonna say. I mean, the manufacturer hasn't gone for a THX stamp like of certification, but I'm 100% sure that if this speaker were to go to, if these guys were to go to THX and try to get a certification, that they would achieve their top certification of they have this THX Ultra certification, which basically means that the subwoofer can achieve 115 decibel peaks in movies for the bass frequencies and still retain its low extension without distortion. I think that this subwoofer could quite easily achieve that. So yeah, that's the point of this subwoofer. So the first thing is manage your expectations, because it's a direct to manufacturer subwoofer, which means that you are buying it from BK directly. You're not buying it through Richer Sounds or other retail middlemen. You're buying it directly from BK. So if you're in that sort of market, it must mean that you're looking for a good price. Okay, so these guys are making a speaker with a good value. So manage your expectations. They're not going to make you the most flagship subwoofer in the entire world, right? It's for people who want to save money but have a good sound. The sound quality, as I mentioned earlier, this thing is built to make a lot of bass in large rooms. It's not bad sound quality, it's very good sound quality. It's not like a cheap ported subwoofer that's just like you can't hear what the note is. It's just some random bass. It's not like that. It's still good, but don't expect it to sound the best with music, because it's not going to sound like that. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, some of the material I've tested with this subwoofer, I've had it for 2 years plus, right? And I'm in the middle of a change. So there's going to be some other reviews coming of other subwoofers in the future. So if you want to know more about some subwoofers that I'm going to test, subscribe and all that stuff, and you'll be kept up to date. Stuff I've tested throughout the couple years: Lord of the Rings Blu-ray, Dark Knight Blu-ray, Interstellar, which is like wicked for bass frequencies, especially there's a lot of good parts in that movie. Interstellar UHD Blu-ray, Lone Survivor Blu-ray, Matrix Blu-ray, The Hobbit Blu-ray. The list goes on. I've tested all these and more, and lots of Netflix stuff and Amazon Prime stuff. Okay, so we're going to start with the good. What are the good things about the BK Monolith Plus? Now, first of all, is it an upgrade to the BK Monolith? I would say yes, it is. It's a new driver, or not a new driver, but I think they've hand-picked this driver to be able to cope with the huge bass that it's going to make, right? And where did they get that driver from? I think it's a Peerless driver. It's got 500 watts, so this driver has to be able to cope with all that power that's been thrown at it. So yeah, it is an upgrade to the BK Monolith original, but I think for most people, if you have a mid-sized room, you don't really need it, okay? It's not gonna be like, the bass quality is what I'm trying to say. The bass quality between the BK Monolith and the BK Monolith Plus is very similar in terms of the texture, the resolution and that sort of stuff, but the output is the bigger thing that you're gonna get from the Plus. So, another good thing, nothing else competes with this subwoofer at the price level, right? The price point is like £500-600. I think I got mine for £550 or £575, something like that. And I got it in the cheaper finish, which in the white, the satin finish. If you want like a nice finish, like a gloss finish, lacquered finish, like, or veneer finish, you can pay an extra £100. But I didn't feel it was worth it, because I think when you sell it on, you're probably not going to get rewarded for that, if you get what I'm trying to say. So that's the reason why, not just because I'm a cheapskate, but because I feel like when you sell it, you're not going to be compensated for the fact you paid for the upgrade. But yeah, if you're a movie fanatic, there's not really many other subwoofers that come close at that price point. Another benefit, they integrate very well with the speakers that go with it. So like the center, the front left, front right, surrounds. Like sometimes if you set it up right, you can't hear that there's a subwoofer there. And especially if you go dual subwoofers, which I did, and that's another benefit of this system, is that dual subwoofers makes a massive difference for anybody. With any subwoofer, with any speaker system, a dual subwoofer setup, it just makes that bass a lot more equal in the room, and you can go from seat to seat and it just like sounds a lot more kind of clear and kind of less peaks and that. Now, why is it a good thing? Because you can get 2 of these for just over £1,000, like 1,100. Dual subs and 1,000 watts of bass down to 20 hertz or lower. I think in room you could gain a few hertz, or yeah, whatever. I think you could gain some bass extension in smaller rooms as well. So I mean, how can you beat that on value? In the UK, you can't really beat it. In other countries like America, I think they've got some other companies that kind of fill this need, but I've never been able to test that because I live here. So we've only got BK, I think. But yeah, in the UK, you can't beat that. Another positive, the manufacturer as well, BK, they've been around for decades, I think. They respond quickly to emails. I've emailed them a couple of times in the past. I've spoken to them on the phone, actually. Yeah, I did speak to them on the phone. Yeah, nice lady on the phone. It's a long-standing brand, and the delivery is very quick, and the packaging is very good. Just make sure, right, just if you're going to buy the subwoofer, I'll tell you now, it's 48 kilos, right? So when you take that thing out of the box, just make sure that you are doing it the right way. I think they include some instructions in basically how to take the thing out of the box. It's a big subwoofer, guys. I'm not joking here. It comes on a pallet, right? It's not like the thing comes on a pallet. Right, so just make sure you be very careful if you take it out of the box. Another positive thing, the residual value of this subwoofer. Like I said earlier, I've sold my previous Monolith 300 watt. I sold it on eBay, and I think I lost a couple £100 on it. I had that one, did I have that for 2-3 years again? I forgot. But it's not like a real sting. Like, if you bought a subwoofer that was made by just Jack down the road, let's say, even if you put the best components in that subwoofer, it wouldn't be worth a lot on eBay because no one really knows what it is. No one's searching for it. But these BK Monoliths, when I look on eBay, there's always one there, two there. They do very well on eBay. And like I said, I lost a couple £100 on it. And, you know, that's not that bad, to be honest with you. If you've used it and you've had it brand new and you've paid VAT on it, it's not that bad. What else can we say? Yeah, another positive is it comes in a front firing model and a down firing model. So you have some options. You don't have to just buy it as it comes. Why is that important? Because the down firing model can save a little bit of space because it's a little bit higher. It doesn't stick out so much in the room. So I think a lot of people will probably go for the down firing. And the other reason why it's good to have two is because if you live in like a flat, let's say, and you go for the down firing model, generally down firing models, they have to be on like a concrete base. So to avoid that problem, you could go for the front firing model. Because in a flat with like non-solid floors, subfloors, you're going to have a little bit more problems with the bass in the room and shaking stuff and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's good to have two options. I like that. The bad thing about, or the bad things about this subwoofer, it's not perfect, okay guys? It's not perfect. It's a very good value subwoofer, but there are a few bad things. And the first thing is the size. Like, the size is just, it's just huge. Like, I've had it for so many years, and the thing is, I feel like now I've had this, God, that sounds weird. Now I've had this size, I can't go back. Yeah, sorry. The size, it's huge. Now I've had this sort of bass in my room. I feel like it's very difficult to go on and now hear another subwoofer and actually be happy with it when you're listening to movies and stuff. But there's other things that these guys could be doing. I'm 100% sure of it. Like, does it really have to be a 95 litre enclosure? Does it really have to stick out like almost 1 metre into the room if you go for the front firing model? Does it really have to be that big? Isn't there something that you could do to make it fit into a room just a little bit better? And I think, yeah, there is something that you could do. Like, potentially you could go for a dual cone model that's like a, just, you know, double stack model. Could you not have a subwoofer that's like that? two 12-inch or something like that. They do have something, I think it's called the Gemini Twin, but that's not even in the same category as this subwoofer. It's like on the cheaper end. It's not really made for this mass scale like Monolith is. So there is something you could do, BK, and I've had a look at some other brands like SVS, right? And they have an interesting approach where they have a cylinder design for their subwoofer. So it takes up, I think it's 16 inches cubed. I think that it takes the same amount of space as a small sealed sub, but the space is going upwards into the room, and it doesn't weigh as much. And yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, there is something you could do about the size, BK. I think so. The weight, 48 kilos. You need two people to lift the thing safely. Like, I question, like, does it really have to be 48 kilos? Could it not be 35 kilos? Does it have to be 48 kilos? If it does, then sorry, you know, my bad. But I'm just wondering, like, why does it have to be so big to get this sound in the room? Like, I understand, like, from the physics side of things, there is a reason why you have to do it, but I'm saying there's other brands out there that they're making similar output in the bass and extension, and they're like 25, 30 kilos, maximum 35. So I'm just wondering what the reasoning is. Right, sorry guys, now I'm going to move on to the actual sound quality. So the bass, like I said, it's amazing for movies, like really big. It's a really big sound, and once you heard it, there's like not really much else that will compete. But the bass is a bit unmusical, right? So if you want it to, basically, if you're listening to movies and music, and I would say if you're not 90% movies, 10% music, I think you're going to be a bit unimpressed, because it's like, just don't, like I said, don't expect too much of it. Like, what is it question is, what is it trying to achieve at the price point? What it's trying to achieve is in the name, monolith, huge. It's trying to make a huge sound. It's not trying to make a sculpture, it's a monolith. Yeah, so that's what I'll say about that. It's not the best for music, but it can still do it. You can still make out notes in the bass regions, which is at least good. And another thing I would say is bad, like silly little things, like really piss me off, to be honest with you. Like the lack of an auto on-off switch. Like, you know, when you press the button and when it receives a signal, it turns on, and then when it doesn't receive a signal for a certain amount of time, it turns off. Now, these guys have been in the industry for decades, from what I've read, and they still haven't put an auto on-off switch on this subwoofer. And why? Why are you not doing it? I've noticed in the newer models that you've made, not the Monolith, it's the Platinum. The one with the passive radiator. I think they've gone for a 300 watt passive radiator, right? It's one of BK's newer models. I think in that one they've put an upgrade on that. Why not roll it out to the monoliths? Don't know. But the other thing is, like, there's not really much flexibility with the subwoofer. And when I mean that, I mean in terms of, like, if you look at other brands, they do stuff like EQ modes, and they do like port tuning. So like, rather than one huge port, you'll get like 2 ports or 3 ports, and then you can play around with the bungs and you can put them in there, and does it affect the sound, and how does it affect the extension versus the output? So there's none of that with this subwoofer. It's obviously just made for one thing. And I get it, but it can just be a little bit, at times it's just a little bit frustrating and a bit tiring that you always have to kind of put up with these limitations when there's other companies out there now that are doing some more interesting things. So like I said earlier, with SVS, they have some interesting things going on with the cylinder, the PC-2000. Like for that one, I think you can put the bung in the port, and you can change the EQ modes, and the subwoofer is kind of made for that purpose, right? And it has DSP as well. XTZ is another manufacturer they give you options. Okay, another bad thing I would say, the design. It's like, it's a big box, you know. Like, I would say it's not the ugliest big box that you've ever seen, but it's not very exciting. It's just a slab of wood, MDF. So yeah, I would say that if I were to design that subwoofer and I was to work with them, I would say, look, we need to make it a little bit more of like eye candy for the customers. But yeah, again, the price, okay, you can't ask for the planet. But I feel like these guys have been around for so long that these updates could have been rolled out throughout the years, but whatever. Conclusion. So what are the conclusions? It's a very well built subwoofer at this price. It's got a huge sound. It hasn't got THX Ultra certification, but a lot of subwoofers don't, but I'm pretty sure it could achieve that. Some of the bad things, not musical, not the most musical subwoofer. It's not the most flexible subwoofer in the world, and it's not really the most innovative subwoofer in the world, right? Like I said earlier, no auto on off, no DSP modes, no EQ, no multiple ports, so you can have some control over the tuning of the sound. Now, I'm going to end this now by telling you some of the alternatives that I'm looking at currently, because I'm looking to sell these two monoliths, and not because they're no good. It's just because I feel like I need the space. And I just want maybe a little bit more performance with the music. I'm starting to lean towards like needing them for the music now, because you know, sometimes I feel like I want to switch to bookshelf speakers, and if I switch to bookshelves, then they don't really integrate the best with them. So anyway, some of the ones I'm looking at now, you've got the XTZ 1217 Edge. Right, it's a 12-inch subwoofer, 12-inch cone. It's a smaller enclosure, but it's 700 watts, right? And it's got the 700 watts Class D amplification by ICE, which is actually a Bang & Olufsen design. So, you know, that's interesting. And it also has numerous tuning options, this subwoofer. There's so much you can do with it. I was quite impressed when I actually looked at it. And it's direct to manufacturer as well, so you're going to save a lot of money. So yeah, I'm going to try that one soon. The next one is SVS, and it's the SB-3000. So it's a sealed box. That's the SB, well, what that means, I guess. It's a sealed unit, so you're not going to expect all that extension that the Monolith has. However, it's 800 watts, so it's got a huge amplifier in it. And it's a 13 to 14 inch driver. They say it's 13 inches, but I read online that actually you could, if they measured it a slightly different way, they could have got away saying it was 14 inches, but for some reason they've said 13. Again, the SVS gives you tuning options with an app, DSP, equalization and all that stuff. Another SVS I'm looking at is the ported one, but the cylindrical one, okay, because I just feel like that is going to give you the Monolith performance, or probably better, but in a space-saving design. I've worked out the enclosure. They don't actually tell you how big the enclosure is, but I think it must be 110, 120 liters, so which is even bigger than the Monolith. Like I said, the space-saving design, but the base extension is down to 16 hertz. Like 16 hertz, like that is super low bass, you know, like infrasound level bass where you shouldn't really be able to even hear it. And the wattage, 550 watts as well, ported, massive, space-saving design, you know. I want to try that one. So yeah, more reviews are going to come soon. If you like this video, just hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. of these reviews coming up, or give me a like if you enjoyed the content. And sorry if I pissed anyone off, and if you own this subwoofer and I basically just slated your subwoofer, but it's a great subwoofer for the money. Like I said, this is what the market is: low price, high performance. There's not really much that can beat the BK Monolith. So overall, it's a great subwoofer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Sorry guys, one more thing about the subwoofer I forgot to mention earlier in the review, and unfortunately it's another bad thing. So yeah, I kind of these days I'm getting a little bit pissed off with manufacturers, especially in speakers, because we know that speakers need to be home demoed. Okay, you can't go and test speakers in the shops, and at the moment with COVID, perhaps you shouldn't be testing speakers in shops, and depending on what the COVID rates are and stuff like that. So it's just making everything a little bit more difficult. So these days, I think manufacturers of speakers, it's a bit old-fashioned not to offer home demos of speakers when you're an online business. So I've looked at BK's website. I can't see anything there that's very clear about home demos. Other manufacturers I've seen do very good home demos. Like I've said again, I keep referring back to XTZ. I think they give a 30-day risk-free trial. SVS in America, I think it's like 45 days risk-free trial. It doesn't apply in the UK, unfortunately, because you go through a middleman to buy SVS. But in America, I've heard it's direct to manufacturer, and it is a risk-free trial. But there's some other brands as well, loads of brands. You've got the Teufel was another one. You've got another company called Buchart as well, quite a new speaker brand, and they're giving people home demos risk-free, and that's what you want, and that's what I want, and I'm sure other people want it as well. These days, especially with COVID, I just think, like, why are you getting people to take the risk of going in to demo your subwoofers, and not just the risk with COVID, but the risk with, like, you putting your money on the line in the days of the internet. People don't really go to shops anymore to buy stuff. They watch YouTube channels and they look at reviews and they go onto the website and they click add to cart. Can we just please change the way that we do business now? Put it into your business models. I don't care. I just think that's just the way forward. So yeah, BK Monolith, if you do want it, you're just going to have to take a YouTuber's advice on it and a YouTuber's word on it, and take the risk. So message to BK, I think now home demo would be very appreciated. Thank you.